Conservation and sustainable livelihoods really go hand in hand. When you regenerate, when you restore, and when you conserve, it really forms the very basis of what our island communities need to thrive.
The Caribbean Biodiversity Fund is designed to find financing opportunities for Caribbean conservation. The vision of the CBF is that both the people and the environment in the Caribbean thrive, and that's really what we're aiming for.
The Caribbean Biodiversity Fund was born out of the Caribbean Challenge initiative. We received generous funding from KfW, the German Development Bank, together with support from the Nature Conservancy Caribbean and by extension also UNDP, CHEF and World Bank. That gave us the endowment fund that became the very basis of our operations for the Conservation Finance Program.
The idea of the endowment fund is there is a pool of funds that the CBF holds for a number of countries in the region. And we give those funds to each of the countries on interest payments only through those National Conservation Trust Funds. The idea of the National Conservation Trust Funds was always that this was just a start. How can we start to do work in these countries? And we've created those trust funds to be standalone entities that are then blooming and expanding in their own countries to see what makes sense for them in terms of national conservation work.
The initiatives that we do within the Conservation Finance Program is local ownership. So we are a regional organization, and the way that we work with the 12 countries is through a National Conservation Trust Funds. For me, that is really showing that whilst we work on the regional level, we have that local ownership, we have the local experts and the local expertise in place. So we provide sustainable financing, and then on top of that, we have established some of these National Conservation Trust Funds, and we have built this long-lasting, I would say, institutional framework in each of the countries.
You have to have reliable operations on the ground that can make sure then whatever we endorse and make available is spent well on the ground, and this is where the National Conservation Trust Funds come in.
We have a CBF endowment that benefits 12 countries. In each of the 12 countries, the way we channel the funds is through a National Conservation Trust Fund. That network of the National Conservation Trust Fund together with the CBF is what we call the Conservation Finance Architecture. A structure that we can say this exists in the Caribbean region already. We have these conservation trust funds who have the local expertise, who own the processes on the ground. And this is how we can amplify our impact through the architecture and work together.
The effectiveness of what we do is really assured through this network of National Conservation Trust Funds that we have created.
This is a network of very strong national partners who together as a collective can really have an impact on the Caribbean region for its people and the nature.
I think what makes the Conservation Finance Program unique is this idea of long-term organizations doing conservation work and having funding to do it with a Caribbean voice.
What I really love about the Caribbean Biodiversity Fund, that it is Caribbean-centric. We only work in the Caribbean, which is unlike many other funding agencies. And I feel that we have not reached our potential yet. We are in our teenage years, and as we mature, I think that we can contribute even more to the region.
Conservation efforts and the work that we do as a Caribbean Biodiversity Fund is not just about nature. It is not just about the mangroves and the coral reefs. It's about how we can do this together and how people can benefit and how people can live together in nature.
It's not just about biodiversity, as important as it is, but for us it was also important to create sustainable livelihoods.
It's important that we work together. We all have goals that we subscribe to, such as the 30 by 30 goal, protecting 30% of the planet's oceans and land mass. This is something that we can do together. The small island development states have large oceans. So what they do is really helping us all meeting this global goal. It's important that we really transform a global ambition into local action. And this we can only do with people on the ground, with national conservation trust funds in those small jurisdictions, in those small countries. And to get people involved is actually really to make people part of the solution.
Conservation has a role for everyone. We start small, even if it's just you or me. But we start with something, and that for me is really key. We do not wait.